What's up and welcome to FPL Today. I'm your host JNO. Welcome to the channel and welcome to FPL Q&A. Only took me 348 subscribers and about a week and a half to do it. So in today's video, it is simple, FPL Q&A. You ask me FPL questions, I answer them and hopefully help you out in the Fantasy Premier League season. But before we get into this video, if you want FPL content in your subscription box, consider subscribing to the channel and hit that notification bell if you want to know when I go live on the channel. And also in the comments down below, come back to this video and leave your questions for next week's FPL Q&A. So we get on to the first question, and the first question is best Liverpool forward. Luis Suarez. Sorry, if you're asking about currently best Liverpool forward, I mean there's only one that is really guaranteed to play, isn't there? Roberto Firmino. Other than that, if Sturridge ever gets fit, maybe. If Solanke ever gets a chance, or Origi ever gets a chance to be a consistent first team player, again, maybe. But right now, as far as FPL is concerned, there's only one option possible for you to pick, and that's Roberto Firmino. He does come in at a very good price though, which does allow you to have a striker in there that isn't as expensive as all the other main strikers in the top 6 teams. So Roberto Firmino is the only one you can really look at. The next question from Hennessy is best Man City midfielder, De Bruyne, Sane or Bernardo Silva. For me, it's De Bruyne right now. You cannot rely on a player like Bernardo Silva until you've seen him play in the league a bit more. He seems to be of a similar mould to David Silva. Also, Sane, is he nailed on? Is he not? What formation is Guardiola going to play? De Bruyne seems to be, as a central midfielder, the safest option out of all of those three. And to me, the safest option in the whole of Manchester City's attack. Pick anyone else at your own risk. You could be right, you could get the FPL points, but De Bruyne is the safest option into that Man City side that I can see. Gareth Harris asked, considering their easy start to the season, I was surprised at the omission of any cheap Southampton defenders in your recent list. Could you expand on your decision, please? Gareth, the reason there wasn't any cheap Southampton defenders there, because I don't consider anyone that is 5 million or more expensive as a cheap defender, hence why you didn't get any Southampton defender in the list. Also, with Cedric being my favoured option and not being sure he's going to start, I didn't want to suggest Cedric to anyone and then he doesn't play in game week 1. The only other option I can really see for me, with Van Dijk not being a certainty to stay at Southampton, is Ryan Bertrand. And if I was going to spend that much, I'd probably look elsewhere for a defender. If any of the cheaper Southampton defenders, like say Matthew Targett or Stevens, comes in, then they're a good shout. But I just don't think they're going to start. So it's my uncertainty on my favoured option, Cedric, actually starting the season, and around the rest of that defence with Van Dijk possibly moving on, which meant I didn't pick a Southampton defender for my list. Next question is from Katil. I'm going to assume the J is silent because it's easier to say if it is. There's a couple of questions in there and I'll answer the ones that are FPL related. The first one is, how has your approach towards the game changed from when you started until today? My approach, well, when I first started, I never actually saw out a whole season. That would be how it's massively changed. I now see out a season in its entirety. But as far as the first full season I played from game week 1 to 38, and how I would imagine I'm going to play it now, is as far as transfers in and out go, I'm probably a bit more conservative with big players, and then I take more risks with the cheaper players and hope the cheaper players get me the points everyone else isn't getting. Whereas before I would take big risks on bigger names when, for instance, everyone would be going Sanchez, I might go somewhere else. And now I take a lot less risk when it comes to the big names in the FPL game and take the risks more on the smaller names. I also am a lot more comfortable breaking any FPL rules and using a wildcard out of time when everyone else is using it, or also making minus point transfers if I think it's going to benefit my side. The second question is, if I had a terrible start, finding myself in the overall rank of 1.5 million after 5 game weeks due to injuries, rotation, sales, so on, and your players are getting sent off, scoring own goal, subbed off, blah blah blah, what would your realistic goal overall rank be to reach at the end of the season? After 5 game weeks, I don't think you're out of it when you get to 1.5 million after 5 game weeks. Roughly last year, around 4 million people played, so you're still in the top 50% if you're at 1.5 million. And I know a few people that were above 1 million and they finished the season in the top 100k last year. So I definitely wouldn't give up just because I had 5 bad game weeks to begin the season. And then the final question is, taking into consideration the previous question, would I still find it fun to play the game or would I take a break? I still find it fun. I have a lot of challenges when it comes to FPL, and I can move those goals. My goal at the moment is top 10k. If the season starts off badly, I will change my goal, but it will still be a high and what I consider attainable goal, and I'll keep pushing towards that. You can turn a season around. Trust me, you can turn a season around. The 2015-2016 season, I started off badly. People were commenting on my video going, why would I take your advice when you're over 1 million in overall rank? And I pulled it back and got in the top 25,000-26,000 players in the game. So you can definitely bring it back. Just because you've got a bad start doesn't mean it's all over. And 2, I've got this channel to run as well, and I have a lot of fun doing this and giving my advice anyway, so overall rank isn't the be all and end all. It does, however, put some weight behind my words if I have a good overall rank. The next question comes from Dara Smith, and it's about, do I think Willian or Morata will play full games at the start of the season? Willian, yes. Morata, no. Unfortunately, Morata doesn't seem to be match fit. Conte has come out and said this. I think Morata might be rested at the beginning or rotated with Batshuayi. So I don't think Morata will start all the games and play the full games. Willian, however, should and has had good pre-season form, so I'd suggest putting him in your side if you like the look of him. AM Saturday, a long-time supporter of the channel, has asked, do I think I'd ever do an FPL or a football podcast? I would absolutely love to, but the problem is I don't have a set rota where I know I'll be available the same day every week. Also, I'd like to have guests on regularly, and I'm not sure I'd be able to get a co-host that would be consistent with me. I think ideally you want 2 hosts and then someone to interview on a podcast. Time-wise, I'm so committed to the YouTube stuff at the moment that unless I can get a job which is less time-intensive, I doubt I'll be able to do a podcast anytime soon, but I'll definitely consider it. I've enjoyed it when I have been on a podcast. I'm also not sure if I'm a natural host of a podcast. Podcasting and being a host of a podcast is very different than doing a YouTube video where I just talk to you guys straight up. Ray R says, congratulations first of all, thank you my man. His first question is, what got you into Fantasy Premier League? What got me into it was Dream Team for the World Cup 2014. I've said this story before, I believe, on the channel, but I'll say it again because we've got a lot of new subscribers. But a bunch of my friends were doing Dream Team for World Cup 2014, which was held in Brazil, and I wanted to win. And because it was a shorter version of a fantasy football game, I was pretty confident I could see it all out. I went and found Fantasy Football Scout, which is one of my favourite websites out there, and saw that they had some articles suggesting players to pick for fantasy football in the World Cup. So I read those articles, I started to get more serious about looking into stats. I picked my team, picked players like James Rodriguez who did really well, picked some Dutch defenders who did really well. I ended up being around the top and managed to win the World Cup 2014 mini league amongst my friends. I believe on the last 2 games, either the 3rd, 4th playoff, or I won it in the final. And I love the feeling of winning. And ever since then, I kind of carried it on into the Premier League with my friends, and I beat them in my first mini league and got a rank in the top 100k. Now, at the time, I was very proud of a top 100k rank. And then I started this channel, and I was just going to do a couple of videos talking about Fantasy Premier League, like some other people do. They do other stuff, but they have a few videos about Fantasy Premier League, and it just took off. The channel grew because of that content, and eventually this evolved into FPL Today, which is what we have today, where I'm now, I suppose you could say, one of the biggest channels on YouTube as far as Fantasy Premier League goes. So there you have it. Who is my favourite Fantasy Premier League player ever? I would have to say it is Aaron Ramsey from about 3-4 years ago. I brought him into the side and he was just epic for most of that season. I don't even think I played the whole season, but when I was playing, Aaron Ramsey seemed to be really good. Although from last year, it would be Tom Heaton and Joshua King being my favourite players from last year. Mark Antigua asks, if you were to win the FPL competition, would you sell the winning prize of 2 tickets plus expenses to any 2 games of your choice? The simple answer is no, I would go. I would probably vlog it as well, and I'd probably have a whale of a time at 2 stadiums that I've probably never been to before. So that would rule out stadiums like Selhurst Park, like the Etihad. So I don't know where I'd go definitely, but I would definitely use those tickets and watch some games. Evan J. Fox asks, what is my opinion on Mohamed Salah? My opinion is he could be one of the new boys to the Fantasy Premier League that is a must-have. He has looked very sharp in pre-season, seems to have fit into that Liverpool side straight away. Coutinho could be leaving, which might make his importance even greater because he has got a lot of assists from his time at Roma. So Mohamed Salah looks like he could have a breakout season and be a player that we all need to be fitting into our side somehow come game week 4, 5 or 6. And then we got Henrik Pedersen asking, do you think Luka Milivojevic, no way I'm saying that right, from Crystal Palace would be a good player to have in your FPL squad, or do you think he'll get a lot of playtime from him in the up and coming season? I think he will get a lot of playtime. He seems to be a favoured player at Crystal Palace, even under new management, and it looks like he might be on set pieces, so he definitely could be a good choice. But it's something you have to keep an eye on. A couple of bad performances, new manager may drop him and play players like Ruben Loftus-Cheek, who he's brought in. So while I think he could be a good fit for your side at his price range at the moment, it's definitely one you'd have to keep an eye on. Asib Chowdhury asked, Danilo or Trippier, who do you think I should choose? Well, Trippier's injured now, so Danilo is your man. Nice and simple. And finally, Andrew Stewart, who is the best £5 million Southampton defender? Well, that gives me an option of Cedric, Yoshida or Stevens. And with Cedric not a certainty to start the season, I'd say Yoshida. But I think for the whole entire season, Cedric Suarez is your man. Anyway, guys, that is the end of this FPL Q&A. If you have any questions for me to answer next week when I do the second video of FPL Q&A, then make sure to leave those questions in the comments down below and I'll try and answer as many as I possibly can. Also, hit that like button if you want to support the channel and hit that notification bell if you want to know when I'm going live. Hopefully, I'll be going live on Saturday around the 3 o'clock kickoff games. If you want to support the channel, check out all the links in the description down below to support me and the FPL Today YouTube channel. I've been JNO, this has been FPL Today, and remember, it's all about the game. I have no idea what that was.